Call the meeting order. Let's open this meeting for the county, and I've asked let's do a roll call first, and then we'll have a prayer. Roll call. Mr. Burson.
Present.
Pope.
Present.
Mr. Tanner. Mr. Barner.
Present.
Chair's here. If you would, I've asked Mr. Burson if he would lead us in prayer. If y'all would be.
Yes, Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day. We ask God that you will bless us as we go into the business of this county. We ask that you will allow us to make the right decisions. And we pray, God, you will continue to bless this community, continue to bless each and every household that's represented here. And we pray, Father, that you just continue to look upon us as a nation, continue to bless us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Let's pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We don't have any guest speakers or anything. No, two. We Jonathan, Mr. Jonathan Lupo. Yeah. If you would come up.
How are y'all?
Hey, how you?
All right.
So I'm Jonathan Lupo. I'm the president and CEO of Ware County Development Authority. I was named in May and then commuted back and forth from my home in Atlanta until 7 weeks ago, where my wife and I purchased a house. So we moved in, and I wanted to come introduce myself, answer any questions that y'all might have. Also provide my contact information so that we could sit down and I could learn from you what y'all would like to see in the community. The main thing that I'm trying to do is bring in new business and also facilitate the businesses that are currently here in the Development Authority's industrial park. As well, we also have the facility that is inside the city limits which is the corporate park as well. So my whole task is to bring in new business, also facilitate the existing industries that we have. And I can do that through multiple ways, contacts that I have with the technical college and the community college, as well as incentives that I can provide, bond for title and other incentives that deal with property taxes.
Okay.
I can answer any questions, or I can meet with any of y'all one-on-one to sit down and discuss any issues that you might have.
Okay. Anybody? Y'all got
We're glad to have you on board.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. Scott has my information. I can be reached by cell phone or email, and come to y'all at earliest convenience.
I'd like to also welcome Mr. Lupo to Ware County. And, we've been on a pretty good roll here, and we hope that you continue in that same vein with Waycross and Ware County. And just glad to have you.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lupo. We appreciate you coming. Mr. James Lanier and Mr. Richard Lee is here on the waste. Y'all want to?
I'll go ahead first.
Okay.
My name's Richard Lee. I'm with Ryland Environmental. Appreciate y'all seeing us today. We came, mostly, this is James Lanier, my boss. Came today to see if we could find out, and assuming that we'll be having an RFP for garbage collection. And if I understand right, this one's up in December. Mm-hmm. The one with the current contract with Republic Services up in December this year.
Yep.
So just wanted to come and see if we could, y'all had any questions? If we could just find out when it's going to be, because we're in a short window now. Mm-hmm. We got to order trucks, we got to order trash cans, get a building list together. Assuming it's going to be the same kind of contract. See if y'all had an interest in putting out an RFP.
Okay.
Yeah, let me mention, under item D, I put it on the agenda for it to be discussed to find out if the commission wants to solicit RFPs through advertising. And if you do, I have one ready to go that can be advertised. There was some stipulation in the previous one, and Mr. Lee is aware of it. It mentions that the, excuse me, the provider, the service, would have to provide a convenience center. Is that correct? It was in the original one.
That's correct. It's in that original, 20 years ago, is that about?
Yep, it was about 20, I think it was. Yep, and so it was extended up until this coming December 2021, but I needed to find out if the commission felt that same way, like the service provider would have to have a convenience center. If not, then we'll take that out as one of the requirements. But that would need to be something to discuss and decide on.
Yeah, I have some questions because I was in on writing that requirements for service providers. Excuse me. And I have some questions about how it's set up now because originally, excuse me, originally it was non-exclusive. I mean, any waste disposal company who wanted to provide the service in Ware County, if they were financially stable and had a service center and a couple of other things, then they could get a business license, not a contract. So are y'all telling me that Ware County has a contract with Republic now? Is that a contract? I mean, I'm confused. I'm really confused.
It is, but it's written as a non-exclusive from the one that I saw. Now, unless it's changed, I went through all the files to see if I can find. But from my knowledge, it is. I don't even. Richard might be able to remember. He was here and put it together.
There's an established rate that they can charge, and there's a term that it ends in. So it's a contract of sorts. No, the non-exclusive. I think Jody Jackson did that way back when. I'm not sure what that means. I know that they do have a contract. I take it to be a contract. But that contract ends in December of this year. So if you want to do an RFP for another contract and send it out to different companies to get you a rate for garbage collection without the transfer station, you can do that, I think.
Yeah.
Be up to you. Because this one does end, it doesn't have to carry beyond December.
Yeah, I'd like the legal opinion on it before I vote on anything, because it's just too confusing to me. And I helped set it up.
One of the things that our RFP would do would give you an opportunity to clarify these things and kind of put things back in line.
Needs clarification.
Yes, sir. We've got several options that we would like to promote and propose to the county that we think would be a more economical and a better service delivery strategy to the citizens. And so that's why we were hoping to have an RFP to come out and have that opportunity to present it. And then, of course, the commission has the say-so over who they choose and what service delivery strategy that they use. But we employ it in, several counties across the state, and I've been fortunate enough to be very successful with it. So we think we could do the same thing here in Ware County.
Right. Gotcha.
How long is these contracts for?
Typically, the extension was, I believe, from 17, so it went for 4 years, maybe.
4 years.
Yeah,
Are they 4 years now? Is there an
17.
increase every year for any type of increase?
The way it's written is that they can request a CPI index increase each and every year. But there hasn't been an increase with Republic in the probably last 2 or 3 years, from my knowledge. I think the last time was in 19, early 19.
Do you know if this automatically renews if we, at a certain point, to jump beyond December?
I don't think so. I think there's an extension in writing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I saw different versions before and I didn't know exactly which one was used years ago. So
that was part of the purpose of us wanting to come before the commission today. We wanted to make sure there wasn't an automatic renewal, and that we have, within that time frame to be able to respond and say, should the commission decide they want to go out for bid. And, since we've located here, we're servicing the city of Waycross, and, we've branched out from there. We're part of the community. We'd like to have an opportunity to service Ware County as well.
Okay. What we need to do then is to agree or come up with something, if we're gonna put it out for bid.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir. And I'll ask the attorney if they can take a look at it and look over it and study it, and then come back with some
Mr.
answers.
Chairman, I mean, what you all have in your packet already is a non-exclusive franchise agreement. So, what that means is it is not exclusive. It is not some counties will contract with one provider and they provide, and even it may be mandated, every household in the city or the county has to have that service. That's not what Ware County has. And so but I want us to make sure, this is a 2013 version, and Mr. Moy's mentioning that there have been some amendments and updates. And so I think before we render a formal opinion on it, let's make sure we've got all the paperwork in front of us. But at least as far as what it appears at this point, if there haven't been any changes since then, I think it is a non-exclusive franchise agreement, to Commissioner Pope's point.
That's right. Okay.
Now's the time for clarification. I think.
Yes.
Can you have it sent by the next meeting?
Certainly, and we may even, we can look at it this afternoon, but to go ahead and answer that question is, if there's no other paperwork, and I don't recall any paperwork otherwise, then you all have a few options. You could contract with another provider. You can have more than one non-exclusive franchise agreement at the same time. That's the whole idea behind those, is that you don't contract with one provider, and so then there's choices for the residents. Now, I think from the provider's point of view, then sometimes you don't have the volume that allows you to give the residents beneficial rates. So that's where you get in, I think, those sorts of issues. But it is an option, and so I think you all will just be tasked with looking at, what are the various options. And so, yes, we will absolutely get you an opinion on what we have currently in place, and then we can work with Mr. Moy to make some recommendations on options moving forward.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so, Madam Attorney, so if we solicited proposals, then Raylan, they could still provide certain service, but there may be another one or two, then the citizen would have the option. But I understand what they're saying, and I think this is a big thing now, even in the insurance industry, everything about bundling. So if you know that you got all the citizens of the county,
Yes, sir.
you theoretically could offer a lower rate.
You're absolutely correct. It's the law of large numbers, when we
Right,
spread
or
the
you did it
cost
on
across.
volume now.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I'll give you an example. Macon Bibb County, who we're actually in negotiations with them to take their contract over currently. We have 25% of that contract we're picking up now. They just did sort of the same thing as a hybrid agreement. They have an exclusive arrangement for household waste with waste management, but they just put out a non-exclusive franchise agreement for their commercial front load. And all that is doing is just regulating who can pick up the garbage in the county. But again, there's no price control, there's any of that stuff. The way this, the thing that I like about an exclusive franchise agreement is the commission controls every aspect of the contract. Any price increases, any of that stuff has to come before the commission, before it's passed on to the citizens.
And right now we have a non-exclusive, or do we have an exclusive with?
Non-exclusive based on the paperwork that we have in our, and I'm not aware of any change to that paperwork, but I'd still want us to research it and just double check to be sure, but I am not aware of any change to that.
And in fairness, the age of that contract at 20 plus years, it probably is time to relook at it anyway.
So would it be better for the county, from the county's position, to have an exclusive contract with whatever the provider is?
Well, solid waste is one of those. It is a topic that, and I'm sure these gentlemen can tell you better, as well as I can. Is every county you go to, they do solid waste differently, and there are very, very strong opinions on. Well, a city or a county should have mandated solid waste. We should force our citizens to use one provider, and then we know everybody's got a can at their house and they're putting their trash there, they're not dumping it on the side of the road, that sort of thing. Then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum where some counties, don't have anything, or they'll have a non-exclusive franchise agreement from what you all have. And so I just encourage you all, and we can provide this information, but I really do believe we need to study on it so that you understand what the various options are, so that then, you know, you can make the best decision for your constituents and what you think the citizens of Ware County need. Because there is a wide array of how counties do solid waste.
She's absolutely right. One of the things to your point is we have some communities whose attorneys think that, you know, under the Georgia code that you can't extend a sitting board past 1 year for a contract, and so they do 5 one-year contracts. Well, I have a contract with a municipality that's a 20-year contract because the attorney said no, garbage is exempt for that because it's an essential service. So it's just opinions of how things want to do and what the community feels like. But the ultimate goal is we want to provide the best service for the citizens of Ware County at the most economical way possible. And we're proud to be part of the community, and we just want to have an opportunity to do that. And I think one of the points that she hit on was the stuff in the road and being dumped illegally and stuff like that. Right now, it's kind of cost prohibitive for people because they only have one option to dispose of their garbage, and it's $70 a ton almost. So it's kind of pricey. So, you know, is somebody going to go up there and pay $25 to throw a couch away? Now they're going to throw it in the ditch. And so we want to give options to be able to eliminate those things.
You have some counties that mandate that each and every household have the service.
Yes.
And that does 2 things. Primarily, it keeps the rates down because then you're spreading that cost through everybody. And it also helps with illegal dumping.
Yep.
Because usually if somebody has a can, they're having to pay for it. They're not going to take it and go throw it off the side of the road when they're paying for a service. So,
for example, Worth County, we just implemented that exact program in Worth County.
I like the fact when you're dealing with one company, then you don't have all these 2 or 3 different companies, and you can kind of hold their feet to the fire as far as the service, quality of the service, versus, you know, you got 3 or 4.
That's the guy you can yell at right there if you have a problem.
Y'all know.
Yeah, I know.
Something else, if you have a non-exclusive franchise agreement, it's really like an exclusive. If we went in and cut their customer base in half, they would not honor that $13 rate. They couldn't because, as Scott said, they could spread it amongst all the people. So, you see what I'm saying? If we came in and took half the customers, their rate would have to go up because that's just economic.
You mentioned initially about convenient sites.
Yes, sir. Like the convenience center.
Yeah.
One of the things that we proposed in counties like Burke County, because that's geographically sort of the same thing that you have, you know, Ware County, it's a big, vast amount of land. Well, what we proposed, because it was such a long trip to the transfer station, is we put a convenience center in each commissioner district to allow for drop-off in there. Drastically would decrease the number of illegal dumps and the things like that, because you make it more convenient for people, because unfortunately a lot of people are just naturally lazy. They're not going to take that effort to go somewhere else and do it. But if it's closer to them, they would, you know, they probably would go there and utilize those things. And those are all options that we would probably propose, and if we had an opportunity to have an RFP, that we would propose as an option in our proposal. But again, the exclusive contract gives us the ability to do those things.
Yeah. That's what we wanted, is some spots in the county.
Yes, sir.
To dump.
Yes, sir.
You know, like
it works.
Furniture,
Yes,
anything
sir.
like that,
Yes,
refrigerator, stove.
And you can set hours of operation on them, have somebody out there to assist elderly people to bring it in there. It's just a myriad of things that you can do. Lawrence County, which is where I live in Dublin, I implemented the collection centers in Lawrence County back in 1996. We've got 19 of them in Lawrence County. They're all manned and then people pick them up. Well, as the population has shifted, there's more of an interest now going to a countywide curbside collection and then leaving a few of those centers open, as I mentioned, as drop-off centers. And I think that may be, probably in the next year or two, that may be what they're looking at doing. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm really good friends with a couple of the commissioners, and we talk about that quite often. So those are things that we, you know, it helps a lot to look at.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to y'all. We appreciate being a part of the community, and we thank y'all for giving us this chance.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll do that. Okay. Scott, you can have it for the next meeting then?
Yes, sir.
Ready? Okay. All right. Now the agenda items. The resolution for 2021-14 Pro Okie Swamp. Let's see.
We should have a guest speaker to
Yeah.
explain this. I don't
Is
know.
that-
Yeah, okay.
okay.
I thought that might be you.
Wasn't sure about the process, and that's the difference, so I appreciate
Sure.
it, thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Thank you, County Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak today. I appreciate this. My name is Susan Inman. I am a coastal advocate at 100 Miles in Brunswick, but I am a part of a group called the Okefenokee Protection Alliance. We are 40 different local, statewide, national organizations working to protect the Okefenokee Swamp and Refuge. I want to share some concerns and express that have been expressed by many of your constituents and experts. By the way, Waycross constituents are quite vocal about this when I set up a booth. First is that the Georgia EPD is now the sole entity responsible for issuing all permits necessary to start an industrial development like Twin Pines Mine. May not seem like a big deal because EPD is a regulatory agency, but in previous years, the state agency would have assistance from U.S. Geological Survey, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or the EPA. This is the first time the EPD has to investigate impacts of a mine this size and magnitude on their own. Secondly, since 2019, Twin Pines made public the models that they're using to show the possible impacts of their operation, which is really good. But what is troubling is that the scientists outside the community have legitimate and scientific concerns, including state geologists and a hydrologist working for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They have found groundwater analysis is insufficient to prove that the mine will not harm the Okefenokee or the surrounding water supplies. The operation has applied for a permit to withdraw 1.4 million gallons per day from the Floridian aquifer, which could intensify drought conditions that will lead to more fires. Also, we have not seen any models or estimates related to how they will handle wastewater produced from processing heavy mineral sands, or what those impacts, those contaminants, will have on the quality of our groundwater, nor have we seen how they will operate during a drought. A few local communities have weighed in on their own resolutions: Homeland, St. Mary's, and Kingsland. Two other groups that can't sign a resolution but have spoken out against this are the Cherokee Tribe of Georgia and the Fish and Wildlife Services. In closing, I urge you to put forth a pro-swamp proposal or resolution this afternoon to protect the environment in the swamp that generations of Waycross residents have been dependent upon. Thank you for your time and service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Y'all got for her?
Well, not really a question, I guess a comment, Ms. Inman, which I was reading, the information that you sent thoroughly, and I guess this is a second attempt to try to do mining, whereas I think it was DuPont.
Yeah, that was years ago. And actually, Twin Pines Mine, this is their second attempt. Their first proposal was for a much larger area, 3 times the size, and they've decided to decrease the size to a third of it. So that's why this mine is currently being called a demonstration mine, which in Georgia, this type of mining is already being done. In Nahunta, there's a mine that's similar, and then also up around Jessup, it's called Amelia A and B. And so the way that they're going to mine the high iron ore along the trail ridge is already being done in Georgia. So to call it a demonstration mine is, to us, not as transparent as they should be.
Okay. And you think this would have a bad impact on the Okefenokee itself?
Yeah, with the drawdown, with the withdrawal of $1.4 million of aquifer, you will automatically have a drawdown on your surface water. And the Okefenokee itself, on average, is only 2 feet. We have our deeper areas that are the prairies, but on average it's 2 feet. So on the first year, that will draw down the surface water 2 feet. By the 4th year, they project 3.5 feet, and that's on a good year, so a year like this. But if we were in a drought, the max drawdown will be 13 feet. So that creates dry conditions, and with storms that we've been having, also potential for more fires.
Will it hold that water down the whole duration of that mining?
Yeah, and it actually increases the drawdown actually increases the more years they mine.
Okay.
And those maps are within the EPD withdrawal permit on the actual EPD website.
So it will affect the surface water then?
Yes, yep. And then also the area that they're mining is the headwaters of the St. Mary's River, and that's where all the water comes from, the Okefenokee. So it will actually have a direct impact to the St. Mary's River, but they don't know how to project the actual loss of the headwaters. So it will affect the St. Mary's River.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, on this stuff, are they wanting us to do a resolution?
Yes, sir. This was a sample resolution that Ms. Emmons sent me, and I converted it into our format, but it's the same verbiage that she sent. Yes, sir. So what they're wanting is to pass this resolution so they can use that for support material to send, correct? Yeah.
Okay, it's just,
So that's something the commission needs to vote on, then, eh?
That's correct, yes, sir. So we would, if you could put it on the call meeting after this to vote on it, then once it's done, we can get it signed and I can send her a copy of it.
okay.
Based on all I've read in that swamp, I'm in favor of adopting this resolution.
Yeah, me too. And also, I think Waycross, did you approach Waycross? Yes. So I think when they mentioned something about maybe would it be a stronger position as a joint or do separate entities or separate governmental entities?
It could be. I don't know if they were going to address this now or later, or if you might know.
We could. They are talking about putting it on the agenda for next week. So it is coming up sooner than later for Waycross, yes.
We'll see. Okay, sure. All right, thank you, Ms. Hammond. All right, we can move that over to the call meeting. Anybody, any more discussion on it? If not, okay, let's go to the B. Smith Road paving bid award. We only had one bid, is that right, Scott, on that project?
I think so. Is that right, Brandon? Yes, sir. One bid from Littlefield Construction Company in the amount of $1,223,294.
Okay, so we want to go with the alternate, on the paving versus the soil cement versus the graded aggregate. Graded aggregate is $366,000. The alternate soil cement, I believe we ought to use that alternate.
What do they recommend, the engineers?
Recommends the alternate.
Hey, Brandon, can you speak to that? I believe it is with the alternate, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you,
No.
Mr. Chairman.
Brandon, okay, thank you. He's got a, okay.
So it's dropped bid down $200,000, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Use all-
Okay,
I say we go with that.
Yes, sir.
yeah, so he recommended we go with all.
Yes, sir. We've used soil cement successfully throughout the county.
Yeah, it's all over Ware County.
It's all over Ware County. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's what I recommend, whatever y'all, anybody
What?
else, anything on it?
Yes, what about the water main relocation?
I
from what I understand, the Water and Sewer Authority responded basically with it via email. Said that they weren't going to participate in the cost of moving the water main. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's the email that we received. Yes.
Well, did y'all send them a copy of the resolution back whenever water department was created about it'd be their responsibility?
To my knowledge, they're aware of it. We sent it however many months ago on the Cypress Street, emailed it over then.
When can we get a Superior Court judge to rule on the legitimacy of that agreement? Because it will continue to come up. They said they're not gonna follow that agreement. There should be, if you're not gonna have agreement, then then we'll know what to do. But it comes up every time. They don't have any problem going digging up a brand new paved street wherever they wanna dig up. And I just think there needs to be a legal, judgment on it, so we'll know what to do. Specifically says they'll do this work, but then they won't do it, and then nothing happens to them. Just need an answer.
Okay, Brandon, do you know the approximate age of that water main that's there, and what type of material is constructed out of?
I've asked different ones, and I think we were saying that it might have been one of the first mains that were installed as part of the county's water main system. I think, did we say that it was back in the 70s, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I think he told me that came in on the second phase, which was later. That we got Jamestown and water went all up on the north side, and then later on this other phase came down and we got it. It was several years later, so it's not as old. It's not the original beginning of that thing.
Do you have any
And I don't
remembrance of what
3 or 4 years
when it might have been?
got the other
Trevor?
grant.
The
Is that
county
like
commission
early 70s?
owns the water department, is the water department for the county commission. One of the only, revenue generating departments the county had, and then a previous commission just gave it away and set up this authority. So there was 2 batches of installations, Ware County Water Department and then the authority.
Right.
But that's all I know.
Yeah, it was put in by Ware County in the beginning. It was in Satilla form there later, you know.
Would it have been back in the 60s, or are you talking about maybe
That's in
70s?
Ware County,
or 80s?
Ware County put it in.
No.
When were we here, Scott? That's when, after we left, that's when they gave it away.
92 through 99 here.
Yeah.
That's when the authority started.
Garrett.
It's gonna be in the 80s probably.
Yeah, I think it's mid 80s.
Well,
Gary might know, he worked
That
for
water line was put there pre-1977, because I helped put it there.
77.
Went all the way down to what was it, a place in the sun, or if anybody remembers that establishment?
Yes, like a nursing home.
Yeah.
Warner Nursing
That's
Home.
the place in the- out by the
1977
cemetery.
Before then, 'cause
You're right.
I helped put it there, and I left the county, and thankfully in 1977.
Okay. Yeah, I know you work for them. That's
So
right.
how long will it take to go through Superior Court to get a judgment for them? What's that process?
Commissioners, if I may, what I may recommend is first, let's perfect our demand upon them to pay for this. So I don't think we formally, I know there's been emails back and forth, but do a formal letter from the commission that says, here's this agreement, this is what we believe it says, we ask you to pay for this, and get their response. In the meantime, then we'll be researching, our remedies as far as what Plan B looks like.
Okay, so.
But to answer your question, Steve, nothing in court happens fast. I'll answer that. It will never happen as quickly as you want it to happen. That's just the reality. And our court system now, I would have said that 3 years ago, but now as a result of COVID-19 and all the closures they've had and the criminal cases being backed up, their dockets are extremely full, and their trial dockets are just literally unimaginable. So, in the Superior Court.
Can we get close to a resolution? As much as close as possible.
Of course. And so what we'll do is we'll perfect our demand on them through a written formal correspondence. And then in the meantime, we'll look and see what our options are, and then we'll advise you all as to what we believe the best course of action in the most, the very quick course of action.
We need to move on this, cause I know Littlefield, they probably won't start working on it before too long.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I don't want that to hold them up.
Yeah.
Well, we do, we're gonna get price increases, we need to go ahead with the road. But we don't know where that water line really is laying. It needs to be located. And then if it could be that parts of it is out from under the road, the new road, I don't know that. But is the road go right down the old Smith Road, most of it?
It shifts over in a few places, Mr. Chairman, and it appears by the plans that they show it in the western travel lane that would be going south from Wadley Road down towards, it looks like it's in the outside wheel path of that southbound lane on the western portion of the roadway.
I could throw it right under the pavement. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And what do we estimate that it would cost to put that line?
I want to say it was $190,000 was the engineer's estimate of contract cost based on current bids with water systems. That would include material, equipment, and labor.
And based on what the gentleman said right there, if he laid that line, and just say if it was 77, we're talking about a line that's 44 years old, and I don't know what kind of piping they used at that time, whether it was,
Well, the
whatever.
pipe guarantee is 50 years, I can tell you that.
So it's getting close to its life expectancy right now, right?
Right.
Yes, sir. And from what I understand, some of that similar material, they've had some problems in some places with it, but I don't know the exact current status of the integrity of that without digging down on it in several places and seeing, making sure it's the pipe we think it is. And another thing, is the cover of the existing pipe, and then its current integrity.
On what was it, Cypress Street, didn't the commission at some point, they kind of came to a compromise where the county would pay for the material and then they would just install it?
Yes, sir. I think that's how
That's how.
And so that's pretty much the same situation like we got now, that the county requested that the water main be moved?
Yes, sir.
But I don't think they moved it themselves, or did they contract that out?
They did contract that out.
Yeah.
We paid for the material costs and purchased the materials, and then they provided the equipment and labor to move the line. And I think they, because of their workforce at the time, decided it would be faster to sub it out. And I think Thrift Brothers ended up doing that while they were there working on the rest of the project for us.
But the county really don't have to pay for that water line, do they?
No,
Should it be
according to the,
Satilla? Or, they should move it on their own?
That's our interpretation, but we're not
What you
attorneys.
said,
So.
folks?
That's what,
They were supposed to pay for it themselves, ain't they?
that's what the question is.
Yeah.
We believe that to be the interpretation of the agreement. Now, it is an old agreement, but that is certainly our interpretation of it. And I think the parties historically have acted on that interpretation up until the last that last project.
But now, we do have a lot of water lines under roads.
Absolutely.
I know Ross has a lot of them run down it.
I think we can thank Gary for that.
They about as many run under it as his alongside it. I laid him in a mile of it.
You got better production doing that.
Yeah, okay.
so you're gonna kind of send them a little bit strongly worded letter.
I think what we'll do is I'll work with Mr. Moy to put together a draft for your, if you direct us so, we'll put together a draft for your approval and we'll get that to you all. We will send that simultaneous. We won't wait on a response to that. Simultaneous, we'll come up with an analysis and plan of action on what I'll call Plan B. If Plan A doesn't work and they don't honor what we believe the current agreement says, then we'll go to Plan B.
We can go ahead and award the contract to Littlefield and they can move the water line. They
Well,
can get started
I
on
think
that
part
water
of what
line.
we may want to do in that letter that we send is demand that the contract's honored now, and that if it's not, we would move forward and we would just bill them for whatever cost that is for that portion.
Okay.
But just to make sure we clear, the moving of the water line is not included in this bid with Littlefield.
That is correct, yes, sir.
No, it ain't in Littlefield.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Anything else on that Smith Road? If not, okay, Cactus Street project, paving project, request change order. They've had a price increase, I guess. Scott, could you explain that to us,
Yes,
please?
sir. We received information that they are requesting an increase in the contractor price, so a change order. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it amounts to $38,929.06 due to price increases. Everything has been done to my knowledge as far as contracts being signed, notice of award. Just to kind of give you some history there, the county commission in the June 14th meeting awarded the bid, and from a bid opening that took place in March, and then there was been some time delayed, I think, because that's when the conflict of interest policy came up, so it slowed things down as far as getting things in place with the policy with conflict of interest. And so since then, they're requesting a change order in that amount of the $38,929 because of the time period and them starting the project. There's some information in your packet that basically shows by line item which items they're asking and showing what the increase is for each one, which is on the, on the third sheet back. And you can see the difference in the original bid. It's dated September 22, and also the revised proposed bid, and you can see the difference in the prices for each item. Overall, it's a 18% price increase over the original bid price.
I'm gonna leave that up to y'all.
Okay.
Y'all think.
Then Brandon, if you will, just question it too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
So without going back to what it said, as far as the price increase on these materials, had this pretty much been verified by your department? That
I went back as I was requested to do so by the commissioners to look at material pricing now and try to compare it to what we had back in March. With GAB being the second item on their price list here, item number 2, I reached out to our vendor, the one we buy materials from, and he basically said that the material price now on GAB is the same as it was in March. So he said that there's been no increase on the GAB material from March to current pricing. Kind of did the same thing with asphalt, and got the similar response. I think I was quoted the range on asphalt prices right now is $72 to $75 a ton, depending on the quantity of the asphalt ordered. If there's less than 100 tons ordered, they require a higher unit price for that asphalt to try to recoup the loss of firing up the asphalt plant. And he said that would be a similar price in March of $72 to $75, depending on the quantity of the asphalt that was ordered. I called the precast box manufacturer to find out what kind of increases there may be there. There were some precast boxes. There were grade inlets on this project. He said that basically with the concrete materials, there was no increase. He said, but there was an increase on the castings, the steel castings used to make the grates themselves. And he said that was probably about $100 a grate. So you'd be looking at an increase there of about $400 on the material costs from the time of the bid to the current prices. And then on the concrete pipe, I called the manufacturer that we used for all of our concrete pipe just to check to see how prices were in March and then what prices are now. And that was included in the breakdown on the last sheet. It says material cost increase for concrete pipe. The pipe itself, there was an increase of 14% from March to current pricing. And the flared end sections, there was an increase of 7%. If you look at the total cost of the materials, bid was $26,808.48, and then the total cost for the concrete pipe materials now is $29,977.88 based on current costs. So that's a total increase of $3,169.40, which is 12% of the original quote. So trying to look at what other factors might be part of this request. I looked at gas costs back in March, and we were paying the county an increase in prices of about 5.24% on gas, what it costs us now versus what we were spending in March per gallon. And then on diesel, I saw an increase of 9.52%. So it's went up almost 10%.
So what's the bottom line that you found in your due diligence?
On material cost increase, it was $3,169.40 plus $400, $3,500, $3,600 of material cost increases.
If I give a customer a price on a swimming pool for $100,000 and travertine doubles, which it has, and plumbing triples like it has, and filters go up 30%, there's no way they're gonna come back and want a change order on the $100,000 swimming pool just because the prices went up. As far as I'm concerned, they need to follow the contract.
Let me ask this, Brandon. So this is a change order, right?
I don't know if it's a change order or just a request for a price increase on the contract.
Yeah, they hadn't even started the contract.
Yeah, so, cause my experience has been with change orders, most of the job is already started and you run into something maybe unforeseen or something, and you request a change order, and sometimes it may even come from your department. You may come back to the county and say, we need to, look at a change order here because, we ran into this situation we hadn't anticipated. But in this case right here, they want to basically like increase the price of the bid before the work's even started, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well now, help me out right here. Okay, so whenever these bids are put out, they're awarded. Okay, after they're awarded, then you go through a process, I guess, where you get with the, like TR Long, Trent Long and all them. Then you have the, what you indicated back in July, what was it? The
notice of award.
Notice of award.
Yes, sir.
So at that point, when you have the notice of award, that's basically you signing, saying that you're going to do the job, right?
Yes, sir. In the notice of award, it asks the contractor to sign and execute the contract and provide performance and payment bonds.
So once you once you sign off on all that, then you pretty much, for lack of a better term, you're locked in to it. If you,
In that, I would refer to the attorney for that legal question, but I assume so.
We do have what I believe to be a valid contract on this project. I think the only way we can term the request is as a change order, because I think the only change you could make to the contract pricing would be the result of a change order approved by the commission. So that is just for what it's worth. That's the way I view it, is as a change order.
so is this a change order or not?
I believe it is, and so then there is a provision in the contract which envisions change orders, and so then it's up to the commission to determine whether they believe the change order is warranted under the circumstances or not.
Okay.
Because there can be a variety of reasons for a change order. I mean, it may be that they're in the middle of the project and the engineer's out there and he says, well, we need to address this and we didn't include it in the original proposal, and so we need to amend the contract to include these revisions, and then upon you all's approval and the contractor's agreement to provide the work, that would be kind of one scenario. And so this is just another scenario where the contractor is requesting for a revised price in the contract because materials have gone up since the original bid was done.
Let me ask something. Ain't these contracts supposed to be signed within 60 days of the bid? I believe my bonding company says that. If don't, we gotta go on into another contract. We gotta know we either got a job or we don't. Cause we plan way ahead. Is that right, Scott? I think it's 60 days.
I don't know.
And we
don't
delayed
remember how ours
that.
read.
There may be some of that what's falling in. Yes.
So is it 60 days from the time that the bid is awarded, or is it 60
Bid
days
is
from the
open.
time of the notice of award? Which one is
I
it?
think the proposal says you cannot withdraw a bid for 60 days after the bids are opened.
And then if you accept it, you got it within like 30 days, you got to give them a contract.
Okay, so whenever the bids were open and it was awarded to the company, they had 60 days, they couldn't withdraw it, is that right?
Right.
So when the next phase would be the notice of the award.
Yes, sir.
So whenever they get the notice of award and show proof of the performance and the payment bond, then do they have a time after that point? Or are they pretty much locked in once they do that, right?
That's the way I understand that. Again, I'd ask the attorney.
Well, I'd like to
time
look
limit.
back at
You
the
got a time
form, at the bid form itself. I mean, that's not like a law or anything. That would be what was set out in the bid form itself. But I think at the end of the day, whether they chose to enter the contract or not based upon that time delay, they did still choose to enter into the contract, which was executed, and the payment bond's been done, the bid bond's been done. We do know that, so at least that issue was not raised before the contract was signed.
No, it was not.
Okay. So I guess what we've got to try to make a decision on is whether to grant this change order, and if we grant a change order, which to me, I guess it could be considered a change order, but of the amount that they're talking about. And I guess that's why I was asking you, when you did your, I guess, checking as far as the price increases, whichever, because I think that comes under your purview, did it come up to this amount of the change order? So if it doesn't, and if we say, well, okay, we're going to do it, but based on our, findings, it's not for $5,000, and that's all the candidate's going to, that's what we voted to do. Would they still be obligated to going through with this project?
I would assume that's how contracts work.
Right, and so I am looking through in our instructions to the bidders. It does say under section 6, receipt and opening of bids, no bidder may withdraw a bid within 60 days after the actual date of the opening thereof. So they are locked in for those 60 days. Now, so after those 60 days, had they decided, well, we have not entered into a contract yet, we would like to no longer honor that bid, they could have then decided to do that. However, my understanding is they did not. They then signed the contract, which still had the same specifications laid out in the bid itself. So I think, to answer that question, that is the time after that 60 days, but before the contract was signed, would have been the time for this conversation without the need for a change order. So at this point, because the contract has been signed by both parties, bid bond, payment bond, all those documents done, I believe now we've got to do it through the change order process.
And based on what you were saying, Brandon, just a ballpark, what is the amount you come up with?
It was 3,000. $3,569.40 on the precast boxes and the concrete pipe material.
When did they sign the contract?
That I don't know. Do you know the date of when it was signed?
July the 27th? Was that the one?
Let's see.
In July, I think.
The project bid on March 23rd. On July 14th, commission voted to award the bid and sent instructions for the county attorney to provide a public county policy on the conflict of interest issue and the affidavit and everything. On 7/23, I asked about awarding the bid, emailed out the consultant, tried to find out where we were on that. 7/27, they sent the notice of award to the contractor, which is what we talked about earlier. On 8/9, the commission voted to formally adopt the resolution as provided by the county attorney. On 8/13, the contracts were signed and performance and payment bonds were submitted to the consultant. On 8/17, they were delivered to us. On 8/23, they were going to be turned back over to the attorney's office for the second meeting in August. The meeting was canceled. So then I emailed the contracts and everything to their office for them to review and sign off on. And on 9/15, I emailed that signed form by the county attorney's office to the consultant to set up the pre-construction meeting to get everything and get them notice to proceed on the project. And then on 9/22, we received the increase request from
So what date did Commissioner Barnard sign the contract on behalf of Ware County, and what date did Thrift Brothers sign the contract?
The signed contract was provided along with the performance and payment bonds to us on 8/13. So that's the day that or before that.
That's when Thrift Brothers turned it in,
turned them in to the consultant's office. So they gave the signed contracts and the performance and payment bonds to our consultant on the 8/13. 8/17, we received them, and then 8/26 is when they would have been signed by us and the county attorney's office.
Right.
After the county attorney's office approves them, then they're signed by the vice chairman in this case.
Is there any indication why they signed the contract and then immediately brought in this change order request? Why would they sign the contract?
All I have is the letter from them that outlines their request for the increase and why.
It was dated on the 23rd and you got it on the 26th?
Yes, sir.
And they didn't sign the contract to the 8th? Hell, I wouldn't give them no change order
It would have been
I would
sometime,
do that.
it would have been sometime between the 9th and the 13th, Mr. Chairman. I don't know exactly because it was carried to them and then they brought it back to the consultant.
I got you.
No, I give them none. If they ordered it up to the 8th, they'd done it in March, I'd give them a change order. If you didn't give them a notice to proceed, and they didn't sign the contract the 8th, till the 8th month, then they don't preserve it.
Well, we still haven't given notice to proceed yet. We were gonna do that at
Yeah,
the
but
pre-construction
notice to
conference. When we had all of the contracts signed by everybody, then that's when you give them the notice to proceed and start the date, the time on the contract time itself. So notice of award was done on 7/27. Then the contracts were signed between 8/9 and 8/13. Then they were signed by us on or about 8/26. And then we were given the revised pricing on 9/22. I know it's confusing, and I apologize for that.
It just seems to be a lot of time between all these signings.
Yeah.
The company had plenty of time to bring this up for signing the contract.
That's what it seemed like to me.
And particularly since you've only found $3,000 increase, and they're asking for $38,000.
And then there has been an increase in gas, there has been an increase in
yeah,
diesel. I can't speak to how much that's gonna affect the prices or how much they're gonna have to run a motor grader to do the grading or anything like that. There has been an increase in those items as well. I just don't know how to quantify that number.
But probably not $35,000 worth of fuel.
It depends on how much they have to run their motor grader.
It ain't far to Cactus Street. Anyway, I understand. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank you, Chairman.
So, Mr. Manager, as far as the change order itself, if we, based on what he was saying, if we just say, I'm just using this as a figure, say, well, okay, we're gonna increase the amount, $5,000 of the original bid, and then pretty much let them know that, then they either have two options. They can either say, well, we're gonna do the job, or we're not gonna do the job because we can't do it for that amount. And then that's when we would have to go into another phase of this, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, if you justify it based on what you see in the increases, like Brandon spoke of, then you could base it on that. What his research have showed. So,
well, I don't have a problem with doing the change order based on him, documenting and verifying that, hey, there was an increase, from the original bid.
Yeah.
But
that's at the commission's discretion. You don't have to do that.
Right.
But,
And I did not include any taxes or markup on those material costs. Those are just straight numbers. Usually on contract prices, the contractor will include taxes and markup for overhead and profit, those sort of things. So if the county commission would like to entertain that, that's something that probably should be included.
Good.
I think the contract outlines that as up to 15%. Isn't that right, Jennifer?
I think that's correct.
I think it is. Yeah.
Overhead. So it would be that amount, Commissioner, plus 15%.
Which is about another $500-600 off the top of my head, I think.
But if we do it on this account, then the next bid that goes out, we're gonna run into the same thing, where they gave them, add $5,000 more to their bid price, just on account of stuff went up. We don't need to set no precedent. I mean, man, give somebody a bid on the price, that's what we need to go by.
6 months later before they get a contract, ain't not today. I guarantee that rock's going up now. You said it told you they didn't, but
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
pretty sure that rock has went up.
this is an unusual scenario as far as the length of time. There's a variety of reasons there, but because we put that conflict of interest policy in place was one of the main reasons. And just a friendly reminder, and I do appreciate your input so much because I know you're so knowledgeable in this area, but one of the provisions of that policy was just that, you wouldn't be involved in the discussions with anything involving Thrift Brothers. So I just wanted a reminder when we do take a formal vote on that, that you would abstain under that policy.
I appreciate that, but as the county's interest, I probably wouldn't give them no increase. I don't think I would.
I appreciate that.
Well, do we need to put this on the agenda?
Yes, sir. That way we have some direction on which way we need to go. And how we need to respond back to that request.
Thank you. Has the chairman's affidavit been signed yet for this job?
Not at this point, because I was going to ask him to sign it, but I didn't know how this was going to come out. So once we get that resolved, then we'll know what we'll need to do then.
Okay. Is that all right with the rest of the commission to put it on 5 o'clock?
Suits me.
Mr. Burris?
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
We'll carry it over to the 5 o'clock meeting.
Yeah. Let me ask a question too while we're on this.
All right.
On that original bid, it had the amount plus a 10% contingency. Can you, somebody explain that to me?
Dave, the unforeseen is always out there, and it has gotten us a couple times. So this is just the engineer's recommendation for us to say, I recommend you award this contract for this amount and set aside a 10% contingency in our own funding.
Okay, and our
to
funding.
Address, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's his, he's writing that, directing that back to us to be aware that a contract is an estimate and a design. Once you get out there and implement that, there's things that you can dig up in the ground that you had no idea were there. And so that's always a good idea for us, the county, to set aside that funding for those unforeseen conditions that may come up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any more? Commission got any item? County manager, you got anything?
Yes, sir. One thing, there in front of you, I put some information on that Augusta Avenue storage drainage improvement
Right.
For Mr. Lee, and I needed to get some sort of direction there on what the commission wanted to do, if they wanted to move forward on that, to do those repairs, or more or less try to find out what the
Can you
direction
explain
is.
what he's requesting?
This was an estimate created by our engineers on what the proposed cost would be to put that in there. And I'll get, Brandon, can you speak to this on what the proposed, I know that Gene helped with that, but. I've got a copy of it right here, Brandon, if you need it. Okay.
Everyone has the photos in front of them. You can see that there's some washing going on between the two storage units. It's labeled existing issue number 1 in the photos. And then this is an illustration of proposed repair to address the issue. It's the second sheet in my set. Is that what y'all have as a second sheet? Looks like this. So this is a sketch of concrete flume and some riprap to be installed to try to prevent any more erosion and undermining of the existing concrete pavement.
So that's on 12 feet on each side of that main floor. What is that? Is that?
That's some curb to try to intercept flow and direct it to this outlet.
Okay.
The erosion is taking place on his property?
It extends out into the county right of way. It begins at the termination of the concrete pavement, between the concrete pavement and the fence, and then it extends out into the flow of the ditch there in front of the property, which you can see in that first set of pictures.
On existing issue 1?
Yes, existing issue 1, photo 2, you can see that it starts back there at the concrete pavement, and the erosion extends all the way out to the bottom of the ditch. And that erosion has created a berm in the bottom of the ditch that then backs the water up
So
towards Carswell Avenue and down Carswell Avenue.
why we want to get involved in the drainage problem on private property?
You cannot fix both issues separately. It's almost like if you're going to try to fix the problem, you have to do both. So that's the
What's causing the problem?
erosion,
From where?
runoff from the storage units.
So would it be fair to say that's his problem? Excuse me, Jerry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Would that be fair to say that's his problem?
You've always been more fair, more than fair, Commissioner. I think that's
That was a yes, I think.
that was the intent, was to come up with a cost and then talk about how to share that cost, or what the commission's, what y'all's approach would be to this, what your direction would be for us on how to resolve this issue. It's something that's,
It'd be his responsibility to fix it, his part and the county part, because his problem is one messed up the county property. The ditch.
Also, let me point out something. On the back sheet, you've got two other locations that's not quite as bad as that first one.
that's the third one.
It's the third, it'll say existing issue 2, and then the next 2 down below is potential washout. You can kind of see from the pictures where it's running off of the concrete slab and running down like that. So potentially, over time, you could, if we keep getting rain like we have been getting, you could get that same thing. Could. Maybe not.
It looks to me like property owners should be fixing the county ditch, the repair the county ditch for the damage his property is doing to our drainage system. I mean, all I see is water washing off of his property, washing the ditch out. Is any sod or anything put in the ditch? I mean, this is just regular dirt. It'll just wash right out. It's normally grass or something. Looks like it all gone away. What happened? Roundup got it?
It's come back some before, I think, like during the summer, early summer, pretty much all the grass was gone.
Yeah.
But from these pictures, it looks like it's coming back again.
I'm not in favor of the county doing it.
When you put that much runoff in one place, you'll wash anything, it'll move guaranteed.
And I think, based on what I'm looking at here on that drawing, I guess they kinda got like a trough where that thing comes in there and then it runs out, so, I mean, it's coming off the top of the old building, I guess, and coming down, and so pretty much everywhere you got that situation, you're gonna probably have that.
Another flood.
Yeah.
But like to me, there should have been some drainage study done on that before it was ever built.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
Should have been some drainage, but it's not. So that really, from that fence back is not our problem. And he's caused us a problem by that. Like Mr. Burris said, I think. I don't know what to do about that.
And if we were to go and correct this situation, we're pretty much gonna be opening up a can of worms, setting the precedent, hey, if it's on private property, I think the county's policy, we don't really work on, private property, because then you're gonna have everyone, especially when you created the problem.
I don't think the county employee needs to be the one doing the work, especially on his property. I don't
Right.
see how we could be legally do that.
There are contractors that fix that for him. But he doesn't need to continue to erode our ditch, or the county, the public ditch.
I recommend we just give him a call, tell him he's just gonna have to fix it himself, the county's not putting any money into it, period. We'll fix our ditch one once he gets through with his part.
Yeah.
Then the other issues gonna have to be addressed on down that fence.
Yep.
Where it's starting to wash.
The grassing helps. If the grassing can stay, then that will help with erosion all the way down. But once that grass goes away, then, you know, you can have potential a lot more erosion from that point.
Okay.
All right.
Any more?
And the only other thing I wanted to mention is I was notified this morning that Ware County was awarded the CDBG grant for the street paving and drainage of that Emerson Park area, $750,000. So we're one of 43 communities that got it in the state of Georgia.
So what was the price tag on doing that?
I believe it was like 1.7, I think. I may be wrong. 1.7, that's for everything, paving, street drainage, and also fixing drainage on 2 other streets, I believe is what that was.
Okay.
So we still gonna have to come up with what, $800,000 to do it?
Yes, sir.
Our part.
Yeah, and that was the intent we were using. I think, don't quote me, I think we were planning on using SPLOS to match that, because that's why we were going after the grant, because it qualified and it leveraged, you know, that money much better. So, yeah.
Good deal.
All right. That, anything else, Scott?
No, sir. That's all.
I guess we probably need to let you know, the lady that come here a while back and was wanting us to put in for CDBG.
Yeah, I can let her know. I'll notify her
Because
of
right
that
now, my
situation.
understanding, we can't apply until what, 2 years from now?
Yes, sir.
or something
It's
like
every
that?
other year. So
So
we
they
wouldn't
can-
be able to apply next year, but the following year we could.
So we could go and let them know now that.
Yes, sir.
It won't happen, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. the meeting order. This is our call meeting on Monday, September the 27th. And, let's see. 5 o'clock. We done the pledge of allegiance, everything, agenda. Okay,
That's the roll call, I guess we need to do that.
we need a roll call. Let's do a roll call. Mr. Burris,
Present.
Mr. Pope,
Present.
Mr. Tanner, Mr. Barner,
Present.
cheers here. All right, let's go to the agenda item. The resolution for the 2021-14 Pro Oak Swamp.
Do we need to approve this agenda first,
Now-
Scott?
Not necessarily, no, sir. Not unless you want, you can always approve it, yes, sir.
Okay, no, I mean, I was just asking.
You want, we have
I
a motion?
Chair, that we approve the agenda for
Okay.
call
Second.
meeting.
Okay.
You say, did you make a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion to
Okay, I'll
approve the
second it.
For the
call
call?
meeting for September 27th.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we need to go to the. Do I hear a motion on that resolution for that? Swamp? You wanna go over that thing again, or you know what it
Chairman,
is?
I make it,
Let's see, where is it at?
I make a motion that we accept this resolution 2021-14, Pro Okanokie Swamp.
A second.
Second, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on it?
Mr. Moore, would you mind explaining what this resolution is right quick, please?
I might want to get Miss Emmons to do it. She's the one that sent it to me, so it's actually
will you
what
tell
she
us?
sent.
Good.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So the resolution is a pro-swamp resolution. It's not against mining. It's just saying that this is a bad development next to the Okefenokee due to water drawdown and a lot of the unknowns that have not been proven or been information been given forth about their permit.
Thank you.
So it's not against mining, but it's just,
Just this one location.
just
yes,
this location.
correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything on it from y'all? I don't wanna be against the mining. But if they did a study on this location and know that it's gonna affect the water, you know, how y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think we need to do it either. I mean, like I say, it's the mining, I'm not, anti-mining, but you know, the location and what all it's gonna impact.
Yeah.
And, I think this is what she's saying, that basically, you know, that this will have a detrimental effect on the ecological system there at Okanokie Swamp.
And to my knowledge, and I've read back through this, it doesn't mention anything about mining. It does say, though, that Georgia Department of Natural Resources Environmental Protection Division, governed by the state of Georgia, is responsible for regulating and permitting all industrial and commercial activities that affect the natural resources of our state. So it's just basically saying, you know, take some consideration and forethought, you know, in doing what you're designed to do, so to speak.
Protect the environment.
Right.
Oh, it
And I
does.
think it was
Oh,
also
it
mentioned,
does.
we had a
Yeah,
couple,
it does. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. It does mention commercial mining. Yeah.
and I think also it was a couple of, I can't remember what, I have to go back and look, but letters from, I think, one of the state senators, even though that represent that area, was talking about his stance against, you know, this proposal of what, Twin Oaks, I believe it was.
Twin Pines.
Yeah. And so it's, you know, a lot of people on board and, you know, they just stay in their position, you know.
Okay. Actually, we tell them that we're against doing it in that area.
Right.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion and a second. Let's vote on it, I guess. I want to vote. Okay. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Tanner? Now, Mr. Barnard?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. All right. Thank you, Susan. Okay, we have the next one on the Smith Road paving bid award. I think we've done discussed it. Anybody got anything else on that they thought of? Yeah, here a motion to accept the bid from Littlefield Construction Company.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on it?
Mr. Chairman, could Scott detail the particulars with the amount for this project for the minutes, please?
Sure. Yes, sir. Bids were accepted on the Smith Road improvements project on September the 14th at 10 a.m. Littlefield Construction Company submitted a bid in the amount of $1,223,294 with utilizing the soil cement base. And this bid price is within the budget of what we set for that project.
Okay.
And as discussed in the work session, this does not include the cost of moving the water line that's in the right of way, if that is done.
That's correct. No, sir, it does not include that.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Anything else on it? Just let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Tanner? Mr. Barnard?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right. Cactus Street paving project request change order. I hear a motion on that.
And Mr. Chairman, if you will recall, this is the one that you'll abstain from, and so if we'll just let Commissioner Barnard, as vice chair, lead the charge on this one.
Okay. You want it?
Okay, what we got is a request for change order for Cactus Street paving. The contractors come back and ask for $36,000 increase in the paving contract. What we need to do is vote on if we're going to do a change order on it or not. We have someone make a motion for the change order, yes or no on the change order?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that the request for the change order be denied.
Is a second? I'll second that one. Any discussion on it?
Yes, and again, that amount is $38,929.06 for the requested amount of change order. And this is kind of, I guess, a unusual situation where the work hasn't begun yet, but the contractor requesting this change order due to a price increase, I think, of some of the materials. Is that right, Brandon? Okay, and the amount based on our department's finding and the engineer doesn't come up to near about this amount that he's talking about, this contractor. So as far as awarding the bid, We awarded the bid to them, they went through all the process and everything, and they had different chances or different opportunities to change that during that process, am I correct? And so right now, they didn't do it until, like a month ago or something like that, so I guess that's just why we, as a commission, kind of reluctant about making the change order, because they had ample time to do it, you know, and they didn't do it. That's all I have.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, let's call the vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Tanner? I vote aye. Motion carried.
Okay, we'll go to D, solid waste collection and disposal service contract.
Mr. Chairman, that one was removed. I'm sorry. I think I put an agenda in front of you, a revised one, but it was taken off.
Okay, that's been removed.
I think we got our direction on what we're supposed to do with that now, so.
All right, good.
That's the last one, really.
That's the last one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, commissioners' comment, anybody got anything?
I don't.
I don't have any.
I don't have it. Okay. Manager, you have anything?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. I hear a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
See,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.